What if I told you that every single day you're carving out the person you'll become? That the coffee you grab, the 10 minutes you spend scrolling, or the workout you keep putting off isn't just a fleeting moment. It's literally shaping who you'll be 5, 10, even 20 years from now. Stay with me, because today we're diving deep into how your daily habits are the blueprint for your future. And I'm going to show you exactly how to take charge of that process to build a life you're proud of. In this video, you're going to discover 6 powerful principles that reveal how your daily choices are quietly molding your destiny. I'm going to share real, practical steps you can start today to become the person you've always dreamed of being. We'll talk about habits, environment, mindset, and more. By the end, you'll see why the smallest actions are the key to massive transformation. So let's get started. Let me take you back to a moment that flipped my world upside down. A few years ago, I was in a rut. I was stuck in a job that drained me, spending hours every night scrolling through my phone, and honestly, I felt like I was just drifting through life. Every morning, I'd wake up promising myself, today's the day I'll change. But by evening, I was back to the same routine, binge watching shows, snacking, and feeling this quiet guilt that I wasn't living up to my potential. Maybe you've been there too. I wasn't lazy. I just didn't realize how much my daily habits were holding me back. Then one night, I hit rock bottom. I looked in the mirror and barely recognized the person staring back at me. I wasn't the dreamer I used to be. I wasn't the person who believed anything was possible. That moment broke me, but it also woke me up. I realized my daily choices were shaping me into someone I didn't want to be. That was the spark I needed. I started small, really small, but those tiny changes snowballed into a life I'm proud of today. And that's what I want for you. Let's talk about how to make that happen. First up, your habits are your future self's architect. Every single thing you do daily, whether it's hitting the gym, reading a page of a book, or even choosing to hit snooze, is like a brick you're laying in the foundation of your future. Your habits aren't just actions, they're votes for the person you're becoming. The tricky part, most of us don't see the impact of these choices until years later. One slice of pizza doesn't make you unhealthy, just like one salad doesn't make you fit. But stack those choices day after day, and they compound into who you are. Think about it like planting a seed. You don't see the tree right away, but with consistent care, it grows into something massive. Your habits are those seeds. Take Sarah, for example. She was a college student who dreamed of being a writer, but spent most of her free time scrolling social media. One day, she decided to replace just 30 minutes of scrolling with writing 300 words. It wasn't much, but over a year, those 300 words a day turned into a 100,000-word novel. That small habit didn't just make her a writer, it gave her the confidence to call herself one. So here's your action step. Pick one habit that aligns with the person you want to become. Maybe it's reading 10 pages a day, drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning, or even stretching for 5 minutes. Start small, but commit to it daily. Write it down right now. What's one tiny habit you can start today? I'm serious. Pause the video if you need to. I'll wait. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a loop, doing the same things but expecting different results? Let's break that cycle together. Next, let's talk about your environment, because it's secretly controlling your behavior. If your kitchen is stocked with junk food and your couch is way too comfy, guess what? You're probably not going to feel motivated to eat healthy or get up and work out. Your environment is like an invisible hand guiding your daily choices. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, says, "You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." That hit me hard. When I wanted to start running, I kept failing because I'd have to dig through my closet for my sneakers. So I put them right by my bed. Every morning, they were staring at me, practically begging me to put them on. That tiny change in my environment made running feel effortless. Within 6 months, I went from struggling to run a mile to finishing my first 10K. Your environment isn't just a backdrop, it's a tool. Another example, my friend Lisa wanted to cut down on screen time. She started leaving her phone in another room during dinner. That one change led to deeper conversations with her family and a new evening routine of reading. Here's your action step. Look at your environment. What's one thing you can change to make your good habits easier? Maybe it's putting your journal on your nightstand, keeping your phone out of the bedroom to avoid late-night scrolling, or even setting out your workout clothes the night before. Make the good stuff easy and the bad stuff hard. Picture this, a life where your daily routine feels effortless because your space is set up for success. Doesn't that sound freeing? Now, let's dive into your mindset because it's the engine behind everything. If you believe you're not a morning person or not good at public speaking, you're programming yourself to stay that way. Your daily thoughts shape your identity, and your identity shapes your actions. Let me tell you about Maya. She was terrified of public speaking, but her job required her to give presentations. Instead of saying, "I'm bad at this," she started telling herself, "I'm learning to be a confident speaker." Every day she practiced for 10 minutes in front of a mirror, even though she felt silly. Over time, that small shift in mindset and those daily reps turned her into someone who could command a room. Here's the key. You don't have to believe you're great at something right away. You just have to believe you're capable of getting better. That's called a growth mindset, and it's like rocket fuel for transformation. I used to think I wasn't disciplined, but when I started reframing it as "I'm building discipline every day," I stopped feeling like a failure and started taking action. Here's your action step. Identify one limiting belief you have about yourself. Maybe it's "I'm not disciplined" or "I'm too busy." Now reframe it. Instead of "I'm not disciplined," try "I'm building discipline every day." Write down your new belief and read it every morning for a week. Trust me, it'll start to shift how you show up. Have you ever caught yourself saying, "That's just who I am"? What if you could rewrite that story starting today? Let's move to consistency because this is where the magic happens. Most people think they need to be perfect to see results, but perfection is the enemy of progress. It's better to be consistent with a good enough habit than to aim for perfection and burn out. Think about learning a new language. If you wait for the perfect moment to study or try to master every grammar rule before speaking, you'll never start. But if you practice 5 minutes a day, maybe learning one new phrase, you'll be conversational in a year. That's what happened with my friend Alex. He wanted to learn Spanish, but felt overwhelmed, so he committed to just 5 minutes a day on a language app. A year later, he was chatting with locals on a trip to Mexico. Was he fluent? No, but he was functional, and that's what mattered. I saw this in my own life when I started journaling. At first, I wanted to write pages every day, but I'd miss days and feel like a failure. So I scaled it back to one sentence a day. That tiny commitment kept me going, and now I've got notebooks full of insights. Here's your action step. Stop waiting for the perfect plan. Pick one goal and commit to a tiny, imperfect action you can do daily. 5 push-ups, 1 page of writing, 1 minute of meditation. Consistency compounds. Trust the process. Imagine if you started today and a year from now you looked back and realized you've become someone new. Isn't that worth a few minutes a day? Next up, reflection. You can have the best habits, the perfect environment, and a killer mindset, but if you don't reflect, you're missing half the equation. Reflection is like hitting the pause button to check if your daily actions are actually moving you towards your goals. When I started my journey, I'd write down 3 things every night. What went well, what didn't, and one thing I'd do differently tomorrow. That simple habit helped me notice patterns. I realized I was wasting hours on my phone because I was stressed, not because I was lazy. So I started replacing scrolling with journaling, and it was a game changer. There's a study from Harvard that found people who reflect on their progress are 20% more likely to achieve their goals. That's huge. Reflection isn't just navel-gazing, it's about course-correcting your life. Take my cousin Sam. He wanted to save money but kept overspending. He started reviewing his purchases every week, and that reflection helped him spot where his money was going, mostly to takeout. He cut back, and now he's got a solid savings account. Here's your action step. Set aside 5 minutes at the end of your day to reflect. Ask yourself, what did I do today that moved me closer to my goals? What got in the way? Write it down. It doesn't have to be fancy, just a notebook or your phone's notes app. What if you could look back in 6 months and see exactly how far you've come? Doesn't that make 5 minutes of reflection worth it? Finally, let's talk about community, because you don't have to do this alone. The people you surround yourself with shape your habits, your mindset, and your future.
If you're around people who complain, procrastinate, or settle for less, it's hard to stay motivated. But if you're around people who push you, inspire you, and hold you accountable, you'll grow faster than you ever thought possible. When I started my journey, I was hanging out with friends who didn't have big goals. They were great, but their energy wasn't lifting me up. So I started seeking out people who were doing what I wanted to do. I joined a running group, found online communities for creatives, and even started texting a friend to check in on our goals. That shift made all the difference. Look at someone like Elon Musk. He surrounds himself with brilliant minds who challenge him to think bigger. You don't need to be a billionaire, just find one or two people who inspire you to be better. Here's your action step. Reach out to someone who's living the life you want. It could be a friend, a colleague, or even someone online. Ask them a question, join their community, or just follow their journey for inspiration. Who's one person you